Hey everyone, it's HR, and welcome back to D&D Talk. Okay guys, just want to let you know, for the next couple episodes, we're going to start diving into the classes of D&D. And this is really a lot of things because, in fact, the classes are the most important part in D&D. They are what defines your characters and what gives them their abilities. Now, there are a lot of classes that go this. There are magic ones and there are fighting ones, melee ones, I should say. And there's some that combine the two, really. And they're a lot of fun, they're a lot of fun to choose, and honestly, they can even make up the personality of your character. This week, we're going to start with one of the ones that I personally first started with, and that is Wizards. Now, wizards are a very powerful class. They know every spell that exists in D&D as long as it's in their spell book. They're supposed to be people who have spent years training and fighting hard to learn the secret ways of magic. It doesn't come to them easily. They study hard and hard. They don't just wake up with spells. They have these spells written down to them, either in a spell book or on a piece of paper or anything that basically ways to keep the spells with them. Now you may be wondering, what's the downside to this class? Well, there are two downsides, I will say, that brings this class more balance. Because of the fact they have high potential magic abilities, they have low everything else. Meaning that their AC and their health are pretty low. Meaning that they're the ones that they get hit, then they go down pretty easily. Get knocked unconscious very quick. And it's not that hard to hit them. At least that's the general stereotype, I will say. It's still true nowadays. Legit, on my first session playing with a wizard, I was the first one to get knocked down the first session, and I didn't get back up until the end of the fight. It was quite embarrassing. But that's what these wizards are. They're very powerful spellmasters. Now, each wizard has a subclass. If you don't know what a subclass is basically something that, it's basically like a class in a class, you know? It's a class that basically helps differentiate each wizard. Basically, if you want to hone in on certain type of magic, then you can go in that class. Or if you want to hone on some type of fighting for melee classes, you can do that. You can do that here by going to the subclass. Now for wizards, their subclasses are based on the spells, the type of spells that exist in the D&D world. There's evocation, there's illusion, there's chronomancy, there's necromancy. The list goes on and on and on. But you can focus on each type of spell and sort of base it more around your character and how they want to act that way. Now, what do you want to do for wizards stat-wise? Stat-wise, you'll want to have wizards focus more on the intelligence and wisdom part of their stats. Mainly, when you're rolling for stats and you roll to see what number of stats you have, you want to go for intelligence and wisdom. Because that's where your magic is coming from. It's mainly coming from your intelligence. You want your highest stats to be intelligence. Your lowest stat, though, you might want to go with strength. But again, this is all based on what your character would want to do. If you want a powerful spellcaster who can summon magic but isn't that physically strong, then you might want to focus more on intelligence. But if you want a strong guy who honestly still wants to practice magic but isn't that well, like he just got into it, then you might want to go into strength. It all depends on what your character's backstory is and how you made them, I guess, how they look like. Now, spells are very simple. They're made up of spells. Wizards can use every single spell in the entire D&D world. All they have to do is just prepare it at the beginning of the day. They can't outright use it. They have to say at the beginning of the day, okay, I'll choose this spell and this spell, this spell. And they can only prepare a certain amount of spells based on their level. And this is because they want to make sure that we're not too overpowered. Or at least they want to make sure that we don't have the right spell for every moment. You have to try to guess and think about, okay, what spell am I likely going to use today, or what spell might I need today? Now let's talk about spell slots. Spell slots are magic users' favorite friends. They're also their worst enemy. Because spell slots are basically what constitutes and how much energy your character has to use magic. And depending on the level you are, you have a certain amount of spell slots for each level of magic. For instance, if you're level 1, you might have 2 spell slots for level 1 spells. And that's pretty much it. Once you cast 3 spells that day, you're done, because that's how many spell slots you have. Although there is one type of spells that you can cast as many times as you want, and really it doesn't cost that much to use. In fact, it's actually makes it so that you're not just hanging there dry, not able to do any damage. And these are called cantrips. Cantrips are essentially your life force in this game if you're playing a magic user. Because while spells can be great, they can quickly run out if you are doing battle upon battle. With cantrips, you can use them for as long as you want, as many times as you want. Of course, given the amount of time it takes to cast them, of course. Because, you can only cast one spell per turn in a combat scenario. That's sort of how it works. Unless you're sorcerers, but we'll get that next time. But don't go thinking cantrips are more powerful spells than actual spells, though. They're not. Cantrips can be powerful, but they're more or less sort of like a tiny burst of magic that sort of can help your scenario in a certain way. Like it's sort of like it can perform mundane tasks, or it can even summon spells that can do damage, but not that much. Although it depends on the spell, we'll say. Because Firebolt is a cantrip, and that spell starts off pretty weak, but the more you level up, the more damage that spell deals. To the point where it can deal about 2d10s, I think, at some point. Again, it all depends on what your class is. I might be wrong about that. Don't hold me to that. Okay, let's go over looks. Now, when you think of wizard, what do you normally think of? Thinking of an old man with a gray beard and a gray hat and thinking, you shall not pass, yeah. But really, that's not what all wizards are. It can be like that, but you don't have to be like that. Again, it depends on what your character can be. You can make your character look like my Mind Flayer guy here with the cloak and vest and honestly looking badass, or you can look like, well, me. Wearing a t-shirt, some shorts, and wearing glasses while also not knowing what to do. Really, your character can look like anything you want. Again, it depends on the backstory. It doesn't really depend on the class at all, what your character looks like. No, that actually depends on the race and the backstory of your character, so don't worry about that. Now, you're probably wondering, if I'm going to play a wizard, what race should I choose? Again, don't go to this video for advice on that, because that all depends on your character's backstory. That's up to you to decide. But if you're not sure what race you want to choose, or if the race can be changed and you don't care, here's some races that basically fit the wizard very well. There's Elf. There's Genasi. Surprisingly. There's Gnome. I never thought they'd be good for wizards. And of course, Humans. Yeah, surprisingly, that doesn't seem surprising actually. We seemingly want to be more magic related and don't have magic in us, so why not be wizards? But each of these races sort of fill in for the wizard role because of the fact that they increase the stats necessary for being a wizard. They make your wizard better, make him smarter, or just make him, well, healthier. Now, there's one thing you're probably wondering, it's, what if I want to be a wizard and I want to fight? Well, this is where you can do that. There's a sub-race for this actually called Bladesinger, which, believe it or not, is where you can be a wizard and a fighter with a rapier. Now, I will warn you, this is only for elves. It's only way for elves because it's an ancient elf tradition. Bladesinger is pretty cool. Again, it's only for elves though, sadly. Although, really, you can use it for humans and no one would care. Just run it by your DM. I don't think they would care. Now, the reason why I'm telling you guys all of this here is because of the fact that I want you guys to be more prepared than I was when I first played as a wizard. Mainly because of the fact that I wasn't that well known in wizardry when I first played as one. Like I said in the beginning, when I first played a wizard, I died in my first session. I just said I got knocked out, really. I got knocked out in my first session and went down quickly. Here's the thing, though. One of the things I didn't know was I didn't know that you had to prepare your spells before every day. I thought you just chose spells, and those are the spells you used for the rest of the campaign, or at least until you level it up again. But now I know better. So for the first, like, good bit of my campaign that I was playing the first time, I basically was using the same exact spells, not knowing I could just change a spell when I woke up, and basically getting better at using spells, or at least having scenarios where I can have the right spell for that scenario without realizing it. It sucked. It sucked very hard. It wasn't until my DM told me, okay, did you prepare that spell? What do you mean? He told me, like, what was going on, and I felt so stupid after that. So I'm here telling you guys this, so that way you guys won't feel stupid for not realizing that you can do this with wizards. Okay? Anyway, guys, hope you guys enjoyed this video. That's going to be it for today. And next week, you guys will hopefully see another video about classes. Hopefully next week is going to be a bit more punchy class, probably. Well, guys, hope you have a wonderful day. See you guys next time. Bye.